All right, we are back here on Hold My Banner, Nesson Nation, and thrilled to welcome in for the first time on this show, at least when the two of us have been here together, voice of the Celtics, Sean Grande, joining us now to talk about all things Celtics 20 games into the year. A quarter check-in, Sean, you might say, on this team, sitting at 11-9. And kind of lumped in with a lot of average teams, honestly, in the Eastern Conference right about now. How do you think they sit through 20 games compared to your expectations going in?
Well, my expectations were kind of lower, right? I had to sort of play it coy over the summer as the voice of the Celtics because I didn't want to bum everybody out, right? But looking at a lot of different factors, everyone was, I thought, talking themselves into 45, 46 wins. And this is a top 6 team in the East. And having, lived through real life the last 8 years and seen what this team was with or without Jayson Tatum, put everything else aside, just taking out one of the best players in the league off this team, they've been a 500 team. And that was with a better, more experienced supporting cast. So I thought it was going to be, I've been pleasantly surprised. But bottom line, more than anything, record-wise, scoring differential, all the fancy numbers you want to throw, this team has been difficult to beat, and they've competed for Joe Mazzulla every night. And that was the one thing you didn't know. And here we are 20 games in, and they've had a chance to win 18 or 19 of the 20.
Yeah, what did we learn about their identity through these 20 games? I think people were pretty confused on what this team was going to look like coming into this season without Jayson Tatum. And now we sit here at 20 games, and I'm still a little confused with what their identity is. So I wonder how you feel about it.
You know why you're confused? Because they're confused. Because they don't have one yet. There isn't one yet when you have such a new group together. The only identity is that they're going to play hard. The identity, to some degree, is that they don't have one. So it's difficult to prepare for them because if the players don't know who's going to play, I guarantee you the other team doesn't know who's going to play. And that's why you're going to see crazy combinations and quick hooks. This doesn't happen. Think of veteran players in the NBA, what they have to do to get taken out of the game. Most everyone on this Celtics team right now, you miss a defensive assignment, you don't get a defensive rebound, you don't rotate the right way, your intentionality, bang, you're out of the game. And so that kind of creates chaos within the framework. And Joe Mazzulla there's no one more comfortable on planet Earth, right, operating in chaos than Joe. But it creates chaos for the other team as well. So they become difficult to prepare for. So I don't think if we have the same conversation 10 games from now, 20 games from now, you're going to be any closer to having an identity of what this team is. Because I think we have just put our finger on it. The fact that the identity is that there isn't one.
Sean, I think a lot of people entered this season saying the bigger picture is, okay, it's not a contender, it's not a championship team, and so we need to figure out who's part of the next great Celtics team, especially among those younger guys. Are they part of the rotation, a Shireman, a Walsh, a Minot, Ugo, list goes on. But now that the team, goes out, ends that winning streak for Detroit, wins in Cleveland, starting to look impressive against some of these games, even, hangs close, falls apart late against the Timberwolves. There's a lot of commentary out there. Maybe it's a little excited around the holidays, but a lot of commentary of, boy, you get back a healthy Jayson Tatum in a wide open East, you could make a run. Is this team, in your mind, if he even comes back, and who knows what he's going to look like if and when he does, but is this team a healthy Jayson Tatum away from potentially a run to the NBA Finals?
They're a healthy Jayson Tatum away from being a team you don't want to play if you're a higher seed in the playoffs. That certainly is the case. And that was what I always thought at the start of the year when we were having all these projection conversations. I thought a Celtics team with Jayson Tatum could scare the heck out of a Cleveland or a New York or an Orlando that had this great regular season. Then all of a sudden, wait a minute, this is our reward. We have to play the Celtics with Jayson Tatum in the first round. But while this search for the young player goes on, remember, we're living in a universe now where the Patriots have won 10 in a row. Morgan Geekie is leading the NHL in goals. And Neemias Queta is all of a sudden a legitimate NBA center. If not a top 5 center, maybe not a top 10 center. He's now an above average performing center. And if you want to talk about the difference as to why you can start having optimistic thoughts about this team and who's going to be here next year and who could make an impact at the end of the year, it's the fact that here we are in December, early December, the first week of December, saying that all of a sudden Neemias Queta is legit, and that's making the Celtics a dangerous defensive team.
Yeah, another guy that's making this team very dangerous on defense, at least over the last couple of weeks, has been this emergence of Jordan Walsh. What can you say about this kid's just growth and his work ethic and what has led him to this moment where he's playing meaningful minutes, making meaningful stops, making meaningful baskets for this Boston Celtics team 20 games in?
Well, one of the things I've drawn from all these years, and Adam will love to tell everybody, I'm the longtime voice of the Celtics. But what you see is that there is a place for everybody in this league. Everybody was the leading scorer in high school. Everybody was an All-American college player and probably the best player on their college team. But when you get to the NBA, you're not going to be unless you're Jayson Tatum, unless you're Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, unless you're Jokic. So you have to fit in where you get in. And for Jordan Walsh, he's been trying to play like he was the Jordan Walsh in college and before that, his first couple of years, and trying to find his way. Now he maybe has found his identity, and that is go and sick the other team's best player because you have the athleticism to do that. And when you figure out your role in the NBA and you figure out what makes you valuable, then all of a sudden Pat Beverly becomes a two-decade player in the league. If you figure out what you can be in this league, which is not scoring 30 a game, you got a chance to be dangerous. And all of a sudden, you get the leash from Joe Mazzulla, and I cannot underscore this enough. The confidence from Jayson Tatum being with the team and Jaylen Brown, who has grabbed him, sat him down next to him in the locker room, next to him on the plane, and say, you can be this guy. And as we know, we like to think that everything is automatic. Confidence plays such a huge role at every level of sports and probably in life too. But once you believe that you can do this, and you have Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Joe Mazzulla telling you can do this, all of a sudden you believe, and it makes it a little bit easier. Then you have success, and it builds on itself. And then the officials, more importantly, start to learn who you are, and maybe you're not picking up 3 fouls in the first half every night.
All right.
Again, this team is 11-9. I don't think I'm insane to say that they might have 14, 15 wins if you were getting last year's Derrick White versus this year's Derrick White. Is there too much on his plate in terms of asking him to go out and consistently be the number 2 that he was so successfully last year anytime that Tatum or Brown would periodically miss a game?
There's too much on everybody's plate. If you want to compare it to the last couple of years, it was if you made that big Thanksgiving dinner last week and a couple of people didn't show up, guess what? There was more on everybody else's plate, and that's the upside. The downside is when, Jayson Tatum, everything you want to look at through the first 20 games of this season for the Celtics that hasn't gone great. Defensive rebounding. Sam Hauser, Derrick White not shooting at the same level. Peyton Pritchard not getting the same quality shots. The ball movement, a late in shot clock offensive efficiency. Where does it all point to? Every single answer goes, it's like one of those, Venn diagrams with all the arrows. Everything points back to, do you have Jayson Tatum or you do not have Jayson Tatum? And the answer is usually no, right? It's like, oh, well, you don't have Jayson Tatum. Well, this is going to be a problem. And Derrick White certainly is everybody's on that list. Like nobody's life has been easier without Jayson Tatum. But I think, I think that people conflate, you guys know this, people conflate poor shooting with poor play. Yeah. Right. Oh, this guy went 6 of 17. He had a bad game. Well, he didn't shoot the ball well. That's not the same as having a bad game. Derrick White has made a huge impact, as you said. Defensively, he's done a lot of things really well. It's just he and Peyton Pritchard did not shoot it great at the start of the year, and some close games got away. Celtics, let's face it, guys. The Celtics have also had some schedule losses, like the Houston game that they were probably going to lose anyway, and they've had some schedule wins, like when Orlando was here. Obviously, Cleveland didn't. It was still a great win to beat Cleveland on a back-to-back, but you're going to get some of that early in the season. So I think overall, they pretty much, from a statistical profile, they pretty much are where you thought they would be. Maybe a couple of these games go different, but the point is that with the East, sort of as you suggested, maybe a little bit middling, and if Detroit comes back to the pack, it's really a matter of Charlotte's going to be 12th, and those bottom 3 are going to be the bottom 3. I'm curious to see somebody's going to win 35, 36 games, finish 11th, and miss the play-in. And you're going to be looking, I thought the West was so good. Somebody's going to get in the play-in in the West with 32, 33 wins. Somebody's going to be out in the East. And right now, obviously, Milwaukee's in that spot. Chicago seems to be headed there with a bullet right now. Yeah. But it's pretty it's going to be fun. I think if people could just lean into it. This was my message at the start of the year. And now, if you could lean into letting go of winning a championship and understanding what a championship is for this team, which means playing hard every night, which they have done, causing teams trouble, which they have done, winning games you didn't think they were going to win, which they have done. If that continues, and then Zero comes back late in the year, even though he's not going to be. And it's why I've been a big proponent of Tatum coming back to play this year, because he isn't going to be Jayson Tatum yet. So I want him to play 15 games, 20 games this year, so that when next year starts, and you know who the players are going to be around Tatum and White, whatever that team is going to look like, you've got Jayson Tatum is completely confident and ready to go. In the meantime, you play the 15 games with Tatum, you get into the play-in, maybe get into the playoffs, and scare the living heck out of a team. Remember, guys, all the other teams in the East, New York, Cleveland, Detroit, this is their chance, because Boston, Indiana, Halliburton's coming back next year. Tatum's coming back next year. You're never going to have an open window, and there's only one team that's going to be there with OKC in the finals. Only one. And for everybody else, this is going to be a colossal disappointment and an opportunity gone by. I think for Celtic fans who have lived with the pressure of we have to win for the last half decade or decade, to me, this is a great year to let go and enjoy Drake May and Morgan Geekie and Neemias Queta and the joy of the unexpected and being an underdog.
He didn't say Sonny Gray there.
Roman Anthony, no love.
Hey, I'm all in on Roman Anthony. I'm all in. You know that.
Bringing up, you said this team rigid. Bringing up those notes. I was thinking about Joe Mazzulla coming into the season and how many fans were on two sides of the fence with him, calling him rigid, saying that he can't coach the end of games and he just shoots a three and all this other stuff. I mean, even when you watch that Cleveland game, you see Anthony Simons getting to the mid-range, getting baskets. You see Peyton Pritchard getting to the mid-range, killing, getting a 40-point game off of that. How have you seen Joe Mazzulla kind of grow as a coach throughout the first 20 games of this season?
I think he was excited about this year. And I think the game in Cleveland on Sunday night, we ended our segment before the game on the broadcast. I think I said to him, second night of a back-to-back, down two starters, 3-hour flight delay, which didn't get a lot of play with the Celtics going into a back-to-back. These were the games that were made for Joe Mazzulla. He loves to compete and scratch and claw and create difficult environments for himself. So I think it's safe to say, without trying to take too many talk show hosts out of business, the Joe Mazzulla thing is this. If you've made up your mind that you don't like Joe Mazzulla, your mind's not going to be changed. Right. And if you realize what pretty much the rest of the league has realized, that the dude knows what he's doing, and then you let the other stuff go and you realize the number one criteria in the NBA for a head coach is this. Are the players playing for him? Are they playing hard for him every night? Are they buying into what he has to say? You can still be a good coach, but your time has run out or whatever with a certain group. You can have a bad group, and maybe that's why you have to make a change. It's not always on the coach. If the number one element is guys playing hard and buying into the coach, I'm not sure there's a bigger buy-in, maybe OKC. Is there a bigger buy-in anywhere than this team right now? How did I start this conversation? How do we start talking about guys coming in and out of the lineup? Most NBA players don't put up with that, but they're okay with it because this is the way they want to play for him and they want to play his way and they believe in him.
Sean Grande, again, decked out for the holidays, as you can see that tree behind him. I hope, Sean, we are texting a little bit later on about a nice Celtics win over the Knicks. It would be, if they pull off Pistons, Cavaliers, and Knicks in this week, I think all of us who had very cautious, low expectations of the year, we may be we may be dragged more towards the optimistic side. I don't think there's any doubt.
True.
Without a doubt. Sean, thank you so much. Enjoy it, and happy holiday season to you.
You too, guys.
Again, Sean Grande, the longtime voice of the Celtics. And, man, the thing that he brought up there partway through that discussion, Ountae, and this is so true of me and probably less so of you, it's that refusing to let go thing. It's that's
yeah, you guys got to let that go.
That's where
man.
I get so frustrated game to game against the Nets and the Utahs, and it's like I can't let go. I'm trying to let go. Yeah. I do recognize the bigger picture, but it's hard to let go.
Yeah, and I think what I'm trying to let go of is the fact of being in purgatory, because Boston Celtics fans have a proud history, a tradition of winning, and they want to continue to do that, and I understand it. I personally love, you licking your wounds a little bit sometimes, taking that little cut and knowing that it's going to heal and come back stronger. You know what I mean? So but I'm going to let it go. I'm just going to watch them and, not go in with any expectations and just watch basketball. That's it.
I'll be honest, I think the Celtics are going to win tonight. I didn't think so until he nailed Pirtle. As soon as he nailed Pirtle, I was like, we're going to bring it home. That's how it's decided. It's written in the stars. Absolutely. Thanks to Jay, to Kyle, all of you out there for watching. We'll do it again 1 p.m. Thursday.
Peace.